All right. That code is going to stay in the upper right-hand corner. We've got a good chunk of you in. Today we're going to pick up with the end of the Troubles. And you guys saw how bad the Troubles were. But remember, we also pointed out they start in the mid-60s and they last until the mid-90s, so about 30 years. What has happened since? Well, there has been at least a pause in the Troubles, if not an actual end to them. And this pause or end, depending on how you want to see it, was brought about by the Good Friday Accord, or Good Friday Agreement. Good Friday is the Friday right before Easter. And remember, Easter is important for the Easter uprising for the Catholics and in general, and for both sides of a country that is largely Christian. The symbology of a Good Friday Agreement is important. Some of the key points that helped minimize conflict. Northern Ireland finally got its home rule back. Remember, as the Troubles got bad, Britain took away home rule and established direct rule from London under the Secretary White Law. There was also a switch back from first past the post that had very much favored the Protestants to a proportional representation system that was much more fair to the Catholics and gave them not an advantage over the Protestants, but more equality. If you're having a hard time remembering the voting systems and what all that means, think back to the pizza simulation. With proportional representation, most of you could get at least some of the pizza you wanted, whereas first past the post meant the most popular pizza was the only one we got, and a lot of people were not able to enjoy the pizza of their choice. The system also built in power sharing. Northern Ireland has 2 leaders with equal power in the government. One is a unionist, and typically, again, that means Protestant. But unionist means someone who wants to remain a part of the United Kingdom and loyal to the crown. And the other is a nationalist. Typically, well, I should say typically, they're Catholic, but what defines them as nationalist is that they want to break away from the United Kingdom and join the Republic of Ireland. So we're kind of taking people who had been rebels and we're bringing them into the government. And also there's a change in the police. Because remember, policing had been a big part of this. It was violent reactions to the peaceful civil rights protests that had kind of brought about a violent reaction among Northern Ireland's Catholics. And so to deal with that, we also have power sharing in the police. It's going to be split 50-50, Catholic and Protestant in the police. And we get more splitting. If a person wants to, they can be a citizen of the Republic of Ireland and a citizen of the United Kingdom. And that can be important. That gives you certain privileges in both places. It also lets you have an Irish and a British passport. And we're going to see after something called Brexit, the ability to have both is something that might be pretty important. So thinking about what the conflict looked like, what you've learned about it, and what we've seen as the agreement that helped stop the fighting, do you think the conflict was more religious or more political? Please just select the option you think is the right one in the Pear Deck. And let's see. You decided. All right. So we've got almost a 2-to-1 margin in favor of the view that it was more political than religious. Yeah, I'm not here to tell you which of those answers is the correct one. We are next going to have an assignment that will help you kind of look at what has happened since and the way things look today. And that may give you even more insight as to whether you think it's religious or political. For now, if you are finished with the notes, if you finished all of the notes from presentations and from the video that we started on Tuesday and worked on some more yesterday, then you can go ahead and save and upload your notes to this assignment. If you need more time, just don't upload it yet. It's not due until the 13th. I'm not going to take a look at it and grade it until the 13th, so just no rush on that. What I do want you to do after you've taken care of your notes for the moment is get back to the Ireland module and find tensions in Northern Ireland now. Okay. This is another Edpuzzle assignment, and like some of our others, you've got kind of an extended deadline on this because I want you to have as many as 5 attempts to take it to get the best score you possibly can. The Edpuzzle itself is going to help you understand how there are still tensions and sources of conflict in Northern Ireland today. Note that there are 2 deadlines. Make sure that you check your Canvas page to see which deadline you need to follow. The other thing I want to note before I turn you loose for this is that you have to watch all the way to the end of the video in order for it to turn in and allow you to get credit. If you don't, it's going to count it as incomplete, and when the deadline rolls around, it will give you a 0. So don't do that. Okay. If you need to borrow headphones, please borrow headphones. As long as we are quiet and on task, there's not an exit slip. If we get rowdy, I've got an exit slip ready to go. All I have to do is hit publish in Canvas. So I don't mean that as a threat, but I want you to know I am serious about wanting you guys to be quiet on task. All right, get to it.